Chosen one. Pause where you are right now. Everything around you may feel noisy, rushed, overwhelming. But heaven has pressed pause on this moment so that your ears can hear what many have longed to know. You are not here by coincidence. You are here because God has marked you as one who will walk in a level of blessing that the world cannot comprehend. Listen carefully. You are standing at the threshold of what I call the billionaire's blessing, not measured merely in numbers or currency, but in the divine overflow that transforms your life and the lives of countless others. You have felt it in your spirit for some time now. The sense that you were created for something bigger, something higher, something wealth could never buy, yet wealth is required to accomplish. This is not arrogance. This is calling. The mantle you carry is different from those around you. Many have mocked your waiting season, misunderstood your silence, and misread your lack. But what looks like delay is preparation. What looks like empty hands is God stretching the capacity of your heart. Let me remind you of a truth. You are not called to just survive. You are called to steward abundance. Your life is not a wilderness forever. Yes, you have wandered. You have cried. You have questioned. But all of this is soil in which God is planting an inheritance that the nations will witness. Think of a seed buried deep underground. For a long time, no one notices it. The ground looks barren. People step on it, dismiss it, even forget it exists. But deep within, unseen roots are forming. Strength is building, and a destiny is hidden. You, chosen one, have been that seed. People may have thought your season was over, but heaven says your breaking forth is near. A story comes to mind of one chosen one who lived through years of obscurity. Every day they worked a simple job, gave faithfully, prayed quietly, and watched as others rose ahead. But what they didn't know was that God was weaving connections in silence. Suddenly, in a way no one expected, opportunities opened that required not just enough, but more than enough. Doors that were locked swung open because wealth arrived at the same time. Destiny called. The same God who lifted them out of obscurity is the same God preparing you right now. This blessing coming your way is not ordinary. It is not a trickle. It is not crumbs falling from a table. It is a transfer like a river held back by a dam, ready to burst. That is why you have felt the tension, the resistance, the pressure. It has been the build-up of heaven's resources, preparing to flow in your direction. But I must also speak clearly. This wealth is not for vanity. It is not to flaunt before the world. It is kingdom wealth, entrusted wealth, covenant wealth. God does not put billions in the hands of careless hearts. He puts it into the hands of those he has tested in fire. Those who will build altars, not just houses. Those who will feed the hungry, lift the broken, and shine his light into nations. That is why your path has been so different. That is why you could not blend in, because you were marked to carry what few can carry. The Spirit spoke through Moses, and we find these words in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 18. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors. Do you see it? This is not man-made striving. This is divine granting. This is the Lord's blessing, not the world's reward. And it is set aside with your name on it. So, right now, I invite you, if these words resonate in your spirit, if you sense that this message has found you on purpose, let this be the moment you step forward. Share this word with someone else who has been in the waiting room of destiny. Leave a comment below. Even just a number, type 888 as your sign of agreement. Your declaration that you are ready to step into what heaven is releasing. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do so now. Because this flow of prophetic words is not ending here. You are about to see what eyes have not seen. You are about to walk into what ears have not heard. And when it happens, you will not doubt it was the hand of God. The covenant of wealth is older than you realize. It was not born in the minds of entrepreneurs or whispered by investors. It was written in eternity, before your first breath. The promises of God are not fragile. They are unshakable foundations. And when He declares increase over His chosen, no power of darkness can erase it. This covenant is not about chasing money. It is about walking in alignment with divine order. Money is only the shadow. The true light is God's faithfulness, the unbreakable vow He made to His children that He would not leave them barren or empty-handed. According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 10, the lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Pause and let that echo inside of you. Lack is not your inheritance. Scarcity is not your destiny. The covenant you carry is abundance. And abundance does not run dry. Think of a lighthouse on a stormy night. Ships may drift. Waves may roar. But the light remains steady, calling them home. God's covenant of provision is that lighthouse for you. Even when you feel tossed back and forth by circumstances, even when opportunities seem far away, the light has never stopped shining. You are being drawn to it. There was once a man who worked tirelessly, year after year, trying to build wealth with his own strength. He chased schemes, followed every market trend, yet ended each season empty. It was only when he surrendered to God's covenant, choosing to trust the giver rather than the gift, that doors opened. What years of striving could not accomplish? A single moment of alignment did. That is the difference between toil and covenant. Covenant wealth is not noisy. It does not need to prove itself. It is like water stored deep in underground reservoirs, unseen, yet unending, waiting for the right moment to spring forth. That is why others may not understand you right now. They may see dryness, but you know there is a river underneath. Your journey has been a testimony of preparation. Every delay has shaped your character. Every disappointment has purified your motives. The covenant could not be entrusted to someone reckless. So, heaven used time to mold you. This molding was not punishment, it was preservation. Sometimes God hides His wealth in unusual places, like pearls formed inside irritation, like diamonds pressed out of coal. Your inheritance is coming from what once hurt you, the rejection you faced, the betrayal you endured, the seasons of lack. All of these are paradoxically the wombs of abundance. The covenant is bigger than personal gain. It stretches into generations. You are not just gathering wealth, you are breaking curses. The famine that defined your family line ends with you. The chains of debt that wrapped around your parents will not bind your children. You are the turning point, the one chosen to carry the covenant forward. Picture a tree planted by streams of living water, year after year. Storms may come, Drought may strike, but its leaves remain green, and its fruit arrives in season. That tree is you, and the water is the covenant, flowing steady, unseen, unstoppable. Some will ask, why you? Why should you be the one trusted with this blessing? The answer is simple. Covenant is not random. It is purposeful. God saw in you a vessel who would not hoard, pour out. Someone who would not forget the source once the blessing arrived. And so, chosen one, stand steady. Do not measure yourself by bank accounts or headlines. Measure yourself by the covenant, by the eternal promise written in heaven's ink. What God has spoken will not return empty. The ancient words still hold. Those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. And you have sought, you have endured, you have waited. The covenant of wealth is not on the way. It is already written. What is written must manifest, and you are the living page on which it will be revealed. Do not let the silence fool you, even in the quiet. The covenant is active, like roots pushing deeper into the soil while no one watches. God is anchoring you for the weight of what is coming. There will be a moment when suddenly the unseen becomes seen. Suddenly the reservoir bursts forth. Suddenly the covenant is no longer only a promise whispered, but a reality lived. Hold this truth close. The wealth you are stepping into is not borrowed, not fragile, not temporary. It is covenant wealth, eternal in its source, purposeful in its release, and unstoppable in your life. You have walked through storms that others would not have survived. Nights where you wondered if morning would ever come. Days where every door seemed locked and every hand seemed withdrawn. Yet still, you are here. That in itself is proof you are chosen. From the beginning, heaven placed in you a capacity greater than the ordinary. Where others collapsed, you stood. Where others compromised, you waited. Where others mocked, you held fast. And while the world thought you were forgotten, God was weaving something beyond imagination. The Word of God declares in the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 15, "There I will give her back her vineyards, and will make the valley of Achor a door of hope." This is not empty encouragement. This is a covenant exchange. What looked like your valley of trouble is about to be transformed into a door of hope and prosperity. The very ground of your struggle is about to bloom again. Imagine a bridge under construction. For months it looks like chaos, scattered beams, dust, endless noise. People pass by and scoff, doubting it will ever stand. But one day, the final piece is laid, and suddenly what was confusion becomes connection. That bridge is your story. The pieces of your life are about to connect, forming the pathway for heaven's wealth to flow into your hands. Let me tell you about a woman who carried this mark of chosenness. For years, she struggled to pay rent, often skipping meals so her children could eat. Neighbors whispered, "She must be cursed." But secretly, she clung to God's promises. When the appointed time came, a business opportunity opened one conversation that shifted everything. What once was lack became overflow. Today, she not only provides for her family, but sponsors orphans in other nations. Her testimony is a living echo of covenant wealth. Chosen one. Don't misinterpret your past seasons of lack. They were never meant to define you. They were training, chiseling, shaping the kind of vessel who could carry abundance without being destroyed by it. What felt like rejection was really refinement. Do you sense it? That stirring inside you even as these words reach your ears. It is not human emotion. It is spiritual recognition. Your spirit knows this truth belongs to you. And now, here is what I ask you to do. Leave a prophetic mark in the comments. Write the words "Door of Hope." Why these words? Because when you type them, you are declaring that your season of trouble is becoming a passageway into blessing. You are speaking out that every locked gate is turning into an entrance of opportunity. By writing it, you are not just engaging with this message, you are stepping into agreement with heaven's promise that your valley will produce fruit again. Let this simple act be your seed of faith, visible to both realms, the realm of man and the realm of spirit. Your waiting season is not wasted. Your suffering has not been ignored. The blessing on its way is weighty because the story behind it is costly, and when it arrives, you will not hoard it, you will steward it for nations. The bridge is almost complete. The river is about to flow, and you, chosen one, are positioned to walk across into a reality no eye expected you to inherit. But hear this, before the river bursts forth, there is always silence. The earth grows still right before the rain. The sky grows heavy before it breaks. That is where you are now, in the holy pause before release. Do not mistake the quiet for absence. It is the sound of heaven holding its breath. It is the space where angels gather, ready to carry out what has already been spoken over you. Picture a locked vault, deep underground. For years it sat untouched, collecting dust, ignored by men. Yet the key has always existed, and now, the keeper of the keys is placing it in your hand. One turn, and what was sealed will open. One moment, and what was hidden will be revealed. This is not about money alone. This is about destiny. Wealth is simply the tool, the chariot that will carry you into assignments that have been waiting for generations. Nations tied to your obedience will drink from this river. Families will rise because you chose not to quit in the valley. So lift your head. The pause is nearly over. The vault is about to open. And when it does, you will remember, you were always meant to be the one who carried this blessing. There is a mystery woven through the story of wealth in the kingdom of God. It is the mystery of transfer, when what was stored in the hands of the unjust is reassigned into the hands of the chosen. This is not theft. It is not chance. It is justice. Heaven has always worked this way, shifting resources according to purpose, aligning abundance with obedience. Think of Joseph in Egypt. For years, he was hidden, misunderstood, even imprisoned. Yet, in one divine moment, the wealth of a nation was placed under his stewardship. He did not chase it. He did not manipulate to get it. He was simply positioned by God. And when famine came, Pharaoh recognized that only Joseph carried the wisdom to preserve life. In that instant, the resources of Egypt were transferred into the hands of a Hebrew slave. That is the divine wealth transfer. You may feel like Joseph right now, forgotten, confined, unseen. But heaven has not lost your address. When the moment of transfer arrives, it will not come through the strength of your own hands. It will come because you were faithful in the unseen years, because your integrity was tested and found true. Scripture reminds us in the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 22, The wealth of the sinner is laid up for the righteous. N. Let those words settle deep within you. Wealth is not drifting aimlessly. It has an assignment. It is being stored, even now, for those who are aligned with God's purposes. The hidden accounts, the locked opportunities, the resources that looked unreachable, they are not lost. They are waiting for you. Imagine a river that has been dammed for years. The water presses against the barrier. People downstream walk in dryness, unaware of the flood being held back. Then one day, the dam breaks, and what has been restrained comes rushing with unstoppable force. That is what divine transfer feels like. The pressure you have felt, the spiritual resistance, the sense of being on the edge, it is all the sign of waters preparing to burst forth. I recall the story of a man who once lived paycheck to paycheck, barely able to feed his children. He prayed faithfully, but nothing seemed to change. Then suddenly, a position opened in his company that required someone with very specific skills he had developed quietly for years without knowing why. Overnight, his salary tripled. What was once impossible became his daily reality. He often said later, the job was already there. The money was already set aside. God just waited until I was ready. That is how transfer works. It is already written. It simply waits for your alignment. You are not called to chase money. You are called to chase purpose. And when you are aligned with purpose, wealth runs after you. That is the reversal of the world system. The unrighteous chase coins, but never have enough. The righteous chase God, and wealth finds them in due season. Picture a great banquet table. Plates are set, cups are filled, and seats are reserved. Yet many who were invited do not show up. Heaven does not allow a feast to go to waste. Their places are reassigned. Their portions are transferred. And suddenly, the one who thought they were overlooked is called to the table. That chosen one is where you stand now. The transfer is not random. It is targeted. It is purposeful. And it is unstoppable when God has appointed the time. So do not let discouragement steal your focus. Do not let the apparent slowness deceive you. Transfers are rarely visible until they happen, but once they arrive, they move swiftly, and the world takes notice. The wealth of nations has assignments written upon it, and you tested, refined, marked, are about to be trusted with a portion of it, not for vanity, not for pride, but for kingdom impact, generational restoration, and the fulfillment of promises spoken long before you were born. The river is rising, the table is set, and the transfer is already in motion. And perhaps the most powerful truth of all is this: the transfer is not just about you. It is about everyone connected to your obedience. The children who will eat because you refuse to give up. The communities that will rise because you carried the blessing faithfully. The lives that will find hope because you stepped into the flow. So hold steady. Keep your heart pure. The vault of heaven is already opening, and soon you will see what has been waiting for you all along: wealth with purpose, riches with assignment, and abundance wrapped in covenant promise. Scarcity has a way of whispering lies. It tells you that you are forgotten. It tells you that others will always have more while you remain empty. It tries to convince you that lack is permanent, that your hands will never hold more than just enough. But the voice of God interrupts those lies with a stronger word. abundance. Darkness has tried to keep you bound to a mindset of poverty. Not only financial poverty, but poverty of vision, poverty of hope, poverty of expectation. Yet you were never meant to live small. You were never meant to walk as if heaven had not placed its seal upon you. The Spirit reminds us through the words in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 32, "He who did not spare his own Son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things?" Do you see it? The generosity of heaven is already proven. If God has given his very Son, then every other gift, provision, resources, even great wealth is lesser in comparison. You are not begging for crumbs. You are being invited to live as an heir. Think of a garden that has been left dry for years. The soil is cracked, the plants withered, and the air heavy with dust. Yet when rain falls, even just for a few days, green shoots begin to break through. Hope rises, beauty returns, and the barren ground becomes fruitful again. That garden is your life. Scarcity was never meant to define you. Abundance is the rain now falling. And when rain falls, it does not fall for one plant alone. It falls on the whole field. Your blessing is not for you alone. It is for those connected to you, for those who will drink from your overflow. That is why darkness fears your increase, because your wealth will not stop with you. It will ripple outward, shifting destinies. Chosen one, let me speak openly. These messages flow from a place of calling, but they also flow through vessels, just as rivers need channels. Heaven's word needs platforms. The videos, the words you hear, the voice that reaches you, it all takes time, energy, and resources to keep flowing freely. This is not a demand. It is not a condition. It is an invitation. Imagine a lamp lighting a dark room. The oil inside allows the flame to burn, giving warmth and vision to all who enter. Donating even a small portion is like pouring oil into that lamp, ensuring the light never goes out. Perhaps you have been blessed by these words before. Perhaps this very message feels like it was written directly for you. If so, I gently invite you, consider donating, not as payment, but as participation. It is not about the amount. It is about keeping the oil flowing, so that others who are still wandering in darkness may find the same light you have found. And as you feel led, also, do not forget the simple but powerful ways you can keep this word reaching more souls. Liking this message tells the algorithm, let this light shine further. Sharing it is like handing someone a key they didn't know they were missing. Subscribing is like saying, I want to stay in the flow. I don't want to miss the next wave. Every gesture matters. Every seed counts. Every act of faith builds something eternal. Think of a river again when you drop even a small stone into it. The ripples travel far beyond what your eye can see. A single act of generosity, a single share, a single word spoken can touch lives you will never meet. That is the mystery of sowing. You may never see the full harvest, but heaven counts every ripple. So hear me clearly. You are not pressured. You are not forced. You are free. Give if you feel stirred. Share if you sense this message can lift someone else. Subscribe if you wish to walk alongside this journey continually. Do it as a free act of love, not a burden, because at the end of the day, you were created for generosity, You were designed for overflow. Scarcity was never your name. Your identity is abundance. And as you step deeper into that truth, every act of giving, every act of sharing, becomes not just support, it becomes prophecy, a declaration that lack is broken, and that the river of plenty flows through you as well. The rain is falling. The garden is waking. The river is rising, and through your open hands, others will taste and see that God's covenant is real. There are moments when heaven does not just bless you, it clothes you. A mantle is placed on your shoulders, invisible to the eyes of men, but undeniable in its weight. When God places such a mantle, it carries authority, responsibility, and a measure of provision that cannot be explained by human logic. The mantle you are stepping into now is not ordinary. It is not the garment of just enough. It is the robe of those chosen to walk with billionaire-level authority in the kingdom. Do not mistake this as vanity. This is vocation. God is raising voices and vessels who can carry wealth like a mantle, not for self-display, but for divine assignment. Consider Elisha. When Elijah's mantle fell upon him, it was not merely fabric that touched his shoulders. It was destiny. It was access. It was a transfer of spiritual authority. Likewise, when heaven places this billionaire mantle upon you, it is more than opportunity, it is confirmation. Confirmation that you have endured your testing. Confirmation that you have been refined enough to carry what others cannot. According to what is written in the second letter to Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 8, and God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. And this blessing is not fragile. It is not conditional on economic shifts or market tides. It is anchored in covenant, backed by the authority of heaven itself. Picture a crown being lowered onto your head, heavy with jewels. It feels unfamiliar at first, as though you do not deserve it. Yet the crown does not rest on your worthiness alone. It rests on divine choosing. You may feel unqualified, but God has already qualified you. The mantle may feel heavier than your shoulders can carry, but grace strengthens you to bear it. There was once a man who doubted himself deeply. He grew up poor, overlooked, often told he would never amount to anything. For years, he believed those lies. But one day, he encountered God in a way that shattered his poverty mindset. He began small giving, serving, sowing seeds of obedience. Slowly, opportunities opened, and eventually he became a steward of great wealth. He always said, "It was not the money that changed me, it was the mantle I carried." You, too, are stepping into such a mantle. Do not fear the responsibility. The God who clothes you will also sustain you. The mantle is not a burden meant to crush you. It is a garment meant to reveal who you truly are. The world has seen your wilderness season, but now heaven unveils your crowned season. Think of a torchbearer in ancient times. The flame was never their own. It was passed to them. Their task was simple: carry it faithfully so that the light would not be lost. That is your role. The wealth is not yours to hoard. It is entrusted for impact. Carry it, guard it, and let its light reach those still walking in darkness. And now, chosen one, I invite you to act prophetically. Leave a sign below. Type the number 444 in the comments. Why this number? because it is a symbol of foundation, of establishment, of something unshakable being built. When you write it, you are declaring that the mantle placed on your life is not temporary. It is rooted, it is firm, it is the foundation upon which future generations will rise. By commenting, you are not just responding to a message, you are making a covenant statement. I am ready to be established as a steward of abundance. This is not superstition. It is alignment. Numbers, when used with faith, become markers in the spirit. And 444 is your marker today, the sign that you are stepping into unshakable wealth with unshakable purpose. The mantle rests on your shoulders. The crown is being placed on your head. And the world is about to see what heaven has always known. You were chosen to carry this billionaire blessing. Do not shrink back from this moment. What God places on you, He has already measured for you. The mantle fits, even if it feels overwhelming at first. Just as David grew into the crown after years of being overlooked, so will you grow into this mantle. Every step you take forward in faith strengthens your shoulders. Every prayer whispered in the quiet seasons becomes fuel for the journey ahead. And soon, what once felt heavy will feel natural because you were always designed to carry it. The billionaire blessing is not only coming, it is resting on you now. Fear has always tried to be your shadow. It follows silently, whispering that you are not enough, that the blessing is for others but not for you. Fear tells you that if you rise too high, you will fall harder. Fear tries to chain your hands before they ever touch abundance. But faith speaks louder. Faith is the key that unlocks the vault of heaven. Faith is the hand that receives what God has promised. Where fear paralyzes, faith mobilizes. And the truth is this: the blessing that is coming is not dependent on your fear. It is sustained by your faith. Think of Joshua standing before the Jordan River. Behind him was the wilderness. 40 years of wandering. Ahead of him was the promise. The waters looked impossible, yet the command was simple: step forward. The river did not part until feet touched the edge. Faith demanded action before sight. You, too, are standing at the edge. The waters of provision will part as you step forward. The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1 declares, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Hallelujah. This is why fear cannot define you. Fear demands visible proof before moving. Faith moves first, knowing the proof will appear. Your journey has always been about cultivating faith strong enough to carry blessing without being destroyed by doubt. Imagine a bird learning to fly. The nest feels safe, but the sky calls louder. At first, its wings tremble, unsteady and unsure. Yet, as it leaps, the very air that once seemed dangerous becomes the current that carries it higher. That is what faith feels like. It does not deny the fear, but it refuses to be ruled by it. There was once a man who struggled with stepping out in faith every opportunity that came his way. He hesitated. He told himself, "I'm not ready. I'll wait for a clearer sign." But the signs never seemed clear enough, and the years passed. One day, he decided to move without full clarity, without complete certainty, but with trust. That single step shifted everything. The opportunities he thought he missed returned in new form, multiplied. He later said, "Faith doesn't wait for the perfect moment. Faith makes the moment perfect." You are in such a moment now. Fear will argue that stepping into abundance is too much responsibility. But faith whispers, you were built for this. Fear says, what if you fail? Faith answers, what if this is the breakthrough you were born for? Do not despise the size of your faith. Even a mustard seed can move mountains. Faith is not measured in volume, but in obedience, a small step, a quiet prayer, a whispered, yes. These are the building blocks of miracles. Picture a locked door. Fear keeps you standing outside, staring at the handle, imagining all the ways it could go wrong. Faith simply reaches out and turns the knob. Inside waits everything you prayed for, but only faith can bring you in. Chosen one. Your wealth is not only about numbers, it is about trust. God is not just releasing resources, He is training you to walk by faith so that fear will never control your destiny again. Every dollar that flows into your hands is a reminder that heaven trusts you, that your steps of faith have not been in vain. The day is coming when you will look back and laugh at the lies of fear. You will see how small they truly were compared to the greatness of God's faithfulness. And when others ask how you stepped into such blessing, you will say, it was not because I never felt fear. It was because I chose faith anyway. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is the courage to walk forward while fear screams in the background. And the wealth transfer you are about to witness is faith's reward. So let your heart rest. The battle is not between your weakness and the world's strength. It is between God's promise and fear's lies. And fear has already lost. Think of a sunrise. The night cannot resist it. No matter how deep the darkness seemed, slowly, light stretches across the horizon, pushing shadows away. That sunrise is your faith. Even if it starts small, even if it feels fragile, it carries a power fear cannot withstand. This is where you stand now, on the edge of a dawn that will never set. The mantle of wealth you are called to carry is waiting just beyond the horizon, and faith is your wings to reach it. Keep moving. Even if your steps tremble, you will rise. There are chains that are not made of iron, yet they hold tighter than metal. These are generational chains, patterns of lack, cycles of debt, unspoken agreements passed down like inheritance. Some families know only the language of survival. For them, enough is a miracle, and abundance feels like a fantasy. But you were chosen to break what your ancestors could not. This assignment is not small. To break a curse is to stand where others fell, to face the winds that toppled generations before you, and to declare with your life, it ends here. The moment you step into obedience, the cycle begins to shatter. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 112, verse 2 and 3. Their children will be mighty in the land. The generation of the upright will be blessed. Wealth and riches are in their houses, and their righteousness endures forever. End of Don. These words are not distant promises. They are immediate truths waiting for you to claim. Generational lack is not your inheritance. Generational blessing is, imagine a cracked water jar passed down through a family. Every time someone tries to fill it, the water leaks out. No matter how much is poured, the jar cannot hold abundance. This is the picture of a financial curse. Opportunities arrive, but they never last. But then one day, the jar is replaced. A vessel without cracks. A container built to hold more than enough. That new vessel is you. I recall the story of a young man who grew up in a house where debt collectors knocked at the door every month. He watched his parents struggle, always behind, always anxious. For years, he thought this was normal life. But when he encountered God, his thinking shifted. He began declaring promises over his work, sowing seeds even when he had little, and refusing to accept debt as destiny. Within a few years, not only was he debt-free, but he built businesses that now employ dozens of people. He often says, "The curse stopped when I chose obedience." That is the power resting on you. What crippled others will not cripple you. Where others surrendered, you will rise. The blessing coming into your life will not only restore your house, it will overflow into your children and their children. Think of a tree with roots tangled in poisoned soil. For generations, it bore weak fruit, bitter to the taste. But then the soil is healed, cleansed, made fertile again. Suddenly, the tree flourishes, bearing sweet fruit for all to enjoy. That healing is happening in your bloodline now. The curse is not just about money. It is about mentality. Poverty teaches people to fear, risk, to expect failure, to assume that good things belong to others. But you are being rewired. Your mind is being renewed. You are being trained to see abundance where others see limits, to step into faith where others see fear. Every time you choose obedience over compromise, a chain breaks. Every time you speak blessing instead of complaint, a link falls off. Every time you align with God's word instead of fear's whisper, the curse weakens. And soon, the chains that once wrapped around your family will lie broken at your feet. Generational curses often hide themselves as normal, but the spirit in you refuses to call lack normal. That unrest you feel inside, that sense that you were meant for more, it is proof that heaven has chosen you as the breaker in your line. So take courage. This path is not easy, but it is holy. You are the hinge on which your family's story turns. What begins with you will ripple far beyond you. The chains are breaking. The vessel is being restored. The tree is bearing fruit again. And you, chosen one, are the living proof that curses cannot outlast covenant. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: your victory will not be silent. Your children will see it. They will know they are not bound to repeat what came before. They will grow up not fearing the mailbox, not dreading the phone call, not shrinking at the sound of not enough. They will breathe freely because you chose differently. Picture them as runners in a relay. For years, the baton passed was heavy with burden, wrapped in chains. But when it reaches your hands, the weight changes. What you pass forward will no longer be debt and despair, but freedom, faith, and prosperity. This is your moment. The baton is in your hand now. Run with it. Break every chain. And watch as your lineage becomes a living testimony that God's blessing is stronger than any curse. You may not realize it yet, but there is a crown waiting for you. Not a crown made of gold and jewels alone, but a crown of kingdom, prosperity. It is the symbol of responsibility, of honor, of divine trust. When God places such a crown on your head, it is because He knows your heart has been tested and found faithful. This crown is not given lightly. Many desire it, but only those who have endured refining can wear it. You have been through the fire of lack, the furnace of delay, the testing ground of faith, and still you have not given up. That is why the crown is near. The apostle reminds us in his first letter to Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 25, everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Your training has been intense. You have been disciplined by circumstances, humbled by need, stretched by challenges. All of it was shaping you for the moment when the crown would rest upon your life. Imagine a crown placed on a king's head during his coronation. The people watch. The trumpets sound. And suddenly his identity is no longer questioned. He does not become someone new at that moment. He simply steps into what was always his. That is your story. You are not about to become someone different. You are about to manifest who you always were in God's eyes. I remember hearing about a woman who lived her whole life believing she was ordinary. She worked quietly, cared for her family, and prayed in secret. Few noticed her faithfulness. Yet, one day, an unexpected opportunity arose. She stepped into it with courage, and what followed was a wave of prosperity she could never have engineered on her own. She said later, "The crown was always there. I just didn't see it until God placed it on my head." Chosen one. The same is true for you. The crown is not in the distance. It is hovering above, ready to be placed. You do not earn it by striving. You receive it by obedience and trust. And now, I invite you to respond prophetically. Go to the comments and type these words, "Crown secured." Why this phrase? Because when you write it, you are declaring that your inheritance is not in jeopardy. You are stating with faith that the crown of prosperity God prepared for you cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied. It is secure in heaven, and it is being revealed on earth. These two words are not just text, they are alignment. They are your verbal signature that you accept what God is placing on your life. Picture it. Every time you affirm this truth, it is like fastening the crown tighter on your head so that no wind of doubt can shake it loose. This is your declaration that you will not walk bareheaded any longer. You are crowned, and the crown is secure. So walk with your head lifted, step with confidence. The crown of kingdom prosperity is not a maybe, it is a certainty, and you are chosen to wear it. Do not underestimate what this crown represents. It is not only a symbol of honor, it is an instrument of authority. When a king wears his crown, his words carry weight. When you step into this crown of prosperity, your decisions will carry influence that touches generations. Think of a torch in the night. Without it, people stumble, afraid of the unseen. With it, paths are revealed. Hope is restored. That is how your crown works. It shines, not just for you, but for those walking near you. The prosperity God is entrusting to you is a torch that will light up the lives of many. The crown also carries responsibility. A king does not wear it for himself alone. He wears it for his people. Likewise, your blessing is designed to overflow beyond you. It is meant to establish businesses that provide for families, ministries that heal hearts, and opportunities that lift the forgotten. This is the crown secured for you. So the next time you feel the weight of waiting, remember this: a crown cannot be rushed. It is forged carefully, polished thoroughly, and placed only at the right time. And your time is drawing near. The crown of kingdom prosperity is secure. unshakable, and destined to rest on your life. Lift your eyes and walk as though it is already upon you. Let your shoulders adjust to the new weight of glory. The world may still see you as ordinary, but heaven already sees you crowned. And soon, what is invisible will become undeniable, revealed before every watching eye. There is a reason heaven trusts you with resources others never touch. It is not because of your charm, your connections, or even your strength. It is because you have been tested, and your heart has been found faithful. Where others sought wealth to boast, you sought it to build. Where others demanded blessing for their own comfort, you longed for it to bless nations. That is why you are being entrusted now. Testing always precedes trusting. Just as gold is purified by fire, so your character has been refined by trials. Every delay was a refining flame. Every loss was a shaping hand. Heaven has observed you in hidden seasons, watched your private obedience, measured your silent sacrifices, and now the verdict has been declared. You can be trusted. The Book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 10, records these words of Jesus. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Those little acts of integrity, those unseen moments of faithfulness, they have spoken louder than any public gesture. God has seen them, and He responds by releasing greater weight into your hands. Imagine a vault slowly opening. Inside is not just money but blueprints, ideas, connections, and resources. These are not given randomly. They are assigned to trustworthy hands. That is you. This is the vault of heaven's confidence, and the door is swinging wide. I once knew a man who carried this kind of trust. For years, he managed small amounts with careful stewardship, never misusing what was placed in his care. When greater opportunities came, he applied the same integrity. In time, he became the financial pillar of his community, funding schools, churches, and families in need. When asked why he gave so much, he smiled and said, "Because it was never mine to keep." That is the posture of one heaven trusts. Chosen one. You may feel the weight of responsibility as these blessings approach. But remember, God never places more on your shoulders than His grace can sustain. What He entrusts, He also empowers. The crown is not a burden, it is an assignment, and you have been strengthened to carry it. Think of a bridge suspended across a deep valley. At first, it looks too thin, too fragile to hold the weight of travelers. But when you step upon it, you discover it was built with hidden strength, anchored deep into stone. You are that bridge. Others will cross because God has anchored you in His trust. And now, let me pause and gently invite you. If these words are feeding your spirit, if they are strengthening you in your journey, there are simple ways you can help keep this flow alive. Liking this message is like striking a match that helps the flame travel further. Sharing it is like extending the bridge so someone else can cross into hope. Subscribing is your way of saying, "I want to walk this path continually, without missing a step." And if your heart is stirred deeper, consider this. Every message, every light you receive, requires oil to keep burning. Platforms, time, and energy all need fuel. Donating, whether small or large, is like pouring oil into the lamp so the flame can keep shining. It is not about buying blessing. Your blessing is already yours. It is about sustaining the light so others may see as you have seen. No pressure, no force, only freedom. Give if your heart says yes. Share if you sense another needs this. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the next unfolding. Every act, however small, becomes part of the eternal ripple. Picture a ripple in a still pond. A single drop creates widening circles that touch shores unseen. That is what your actions do. When you sow, when you share, when you support, the ripple travels farther than you will ever know, reaching lives you may never meet until eternity. So, continue walking with your head lifted. Heaven trusts you, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. And as you carry this mantle, remember, the greatest wealth is not in keeping, but in releasing. What you release returns, multiplied, echoing into eternity. You are trusted, you are chosen, and you are stepping into the kind of wealth that only faithful hearts can carry. Let this truth anchor you tonight. Trust is heaven's highest currency. When God entrusts you with blessing, He is declaring before angels and men that you are ready not just to receive, but to release, ready not just to hold, but to multiply. And as you walk forward, every step becomes testimony, wealth and purpose, moving as one. There are visions inside you that ordinary resources cannot carry, dreams that stretch beyond your hands, assignments that seem too large for your current reality. These are not just ideas you came up with. They are divine seeds placed within you long before you understood their purpose. And every seed requires soil, water, and sunlight to grow. The soil is your faith. The water is your obedience, and the sunlight is God's provision. Assignments from heaven always demand provision from heaven. This is why you sometimes feel the weight of too big. You sense the enormity of the calling and wonder how you could ever fund it, ever sustain it. But the truth is this: if the vision came from God, the provision is already aligned. The blueprint and the resources are written together in the same scroll. We are reminded through the words in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 12, "The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands." And this is the foundation of your confidence. The resources you need are not hidden in human systems. They belong to God. He controls the flow. He determines the timing. And when the moment comes, the release will be undeniable. Imagine an architect who draws plans for a vast cathedral. The design is breathtaking, but paper alone cannot build it. Stone, glass, and wood must be gathered. Craftsmen must be trained. Time must be invested. Only then can the cathedral rise. Your calling is that cathedral. The assignment is drawn already. What you are waiting on is the release of resources. And heaven promises the storehouse will open. I once heard the story of a man who carried a vision for an orphanage. For years, he wrote plans, prayed over them, even tried to raise funds, but nothing seemed to move. People mocked him, saying, "You dream too big." But one day, a single conversation with the right person unlocked a donation that covered the entire cost. Today, that orphanage stands, housing hundreds of children. His words echo still. The vision never lacked provision. It only waited for the appointed time. And You are carrying something similar. The business idea, the ministry dream, the invention, the creative project. It is not too much for God. If He gave you the assignment, He has already spoken to the provision. You cannot separate the two. Think of rain clouds heavy with water. They hover, unseen by those on the ground, until suddenly the sky opens. What looks like delay is only build-up. The longer the clouds gather, the heavier the rain when it falls. That is your provision. It has been building, storing, waiting for the release. Do not shrink your dream to fit your current resources. Resources expand to fit vision, not the other way around. Joseph never shrank his dream of feeding nations because of his prison cell. Nehemiah never abandoned the wall because he lacked the wood. They trusted that the God who gave the assignment would send the supply, and He did. Your assignment will require wealth because it is designed to impact nations. Small dreams require small provision. Kingdom dreams require kingdom resources. That is why you feel stretched. That is why you sense the scale of what is coming. It is not meant to intimidate you. It is meant to remind you that only God can fund what only God can birth. So wait with expectancy, not anxiety. The vision is not abandoned. The scroll of your life includes both the dream and the treasure chest assigned to it. And as the time approaches, you will see doors open, partnerships form, and resources align. Hold steady. Keep the blueprint close. Speak life over it. Even when others doubt, your assignment is not too costly for heaven. The storehouse is already full, and heaven has chosen to release it into your hands for this very purpose. The cathedral will rise. The vision will live. The assignment will be funded, and you will stand as proof that heaven always provides for what it commands. And when it happens, you will realize that the wait was never wasted. The delay was preparation. Stretching your faith to match the size of your calling. Provision without maturity destroys, but provision given at the right time builds. Think of a bow being pulled back. The tension feels unbearable. The string stretched to its limit, yet the farther it is pulled, the farther the arrow will fly. That is you, chosen one. The stretching of your season means the release will carry you farther than you imagined. So guard your vision. Keep speaking life into it. Heaven's storehouse is not empty. It is overflowing, and the doors are already unlocking. Your assignment will not fail, because the God who spoke it is faithful to fund it. There comes a moment in every divine journey when heaven requires a response, not because God needs your words, but because your spirit must come into agreement with what has been spoken. Prophetic action is not superstition, it is alignment. It is you saying with boldness, I receive what belongs to me. Right now, you stand on holy ground. The air is heavy with promise. The resources you need are gathering. The doors you prayed for are creaking open, and the opportunities you thought were lost are circling back. It is not a coincidence that you are here in this moment. It is heaven's orchestration. The ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 18 still echo today. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. And the glory waiting to be revealed in you is more than spiritual. It is practical, tangible, undeniable. That glory will take form as wealth, as opportunity, as open doors, as new partnerships. What once was hardship will become harvest. What once was loss will become legacy. Imagine a river that has swelled beyond its banks. For months, the water was rising silently, hidden beneath the surface. Then suddenly, it breaks free, flooding the land, nourishing everything in its path. That is your blessing. You have felt the hidden build-up, the weight pressing on your spirit. Now, it is about to overflow. And this is why I call you to respond. Go to the comments and type the number 888. Why this number? Because it carries the meaning of new beginnings multiplied. A triple measure of abundance. It speaks of overflowing prosperity, blessings that repeat and increase, wealth that does not end with you, but continues for generations. By typing 888, you are declaring that your old season of lack has ended, and a new season of limitless provision has begun. When you write it, do not do so casually. Let each 8 be like a chain of infinity, linking heaven's endless supply to your life. Let it be your covenant signature that you align with divine overflow. Your comment is not mere text. It is the seal of faith that says, I receive the billionaire's blessing with both hands. Note, picture this every time you affirm it with your spirit. It is like turning a key in the vault of heaven. Locks fall away, doors swing wide, and the storehouse of plenty begins to release what was always yours. Chosen one, you are not on the verge of blessing, you are in the season of it. And your declaration today seals what heaven has already written. The flood is breaking, the glory is revealing, the grace is multiplying, and you are stepping into the fullness of it now. And understand this clearly. When you declare it, you are not begging God to do something He has not yet decided. You are agreeing with what He has already prepared. The blessing is not pending approval, it is pending recognition. Heaven has been waiting for you to see yourself as worthy of receiving, not by your works, but by covenant. Think of a farmer who has seed in his barn but never plants it. The harvest is possible, but unless he places the seed into the soil, the fields remain empty. Your declaration is like planting. The seed is already in your hands. Your words place it into fertile ground. And when it is planted, the rains of grace fall, and the harvest is inevitable. Do not underestimate the power of prophetic action. Manimokit, calling it unnecessary. Yet the same God who told Naaman to dip 7 times in the Jordan, the same God who asked Joshua to march silently around Jericho's walls, is the same God who now asks you to step into alignment. These small acts of obedience carry weight far beyond logic. Your 888 is not just numbers on a screen. It is faith, digitized. It is your yes carved into the fabric of eternity. It is a shout in the spirit realm that says, my inheritance will not be delayed. My season will not be denied. Picture waves crashing on the shore. Each one does not retreat in defeat, but prepares for the next surge, higher and stronger than the last. That is what 888 declares, blessings that come in waves, repeating and multiplying until your life is drenched in abundance. Chosen one. Believe it now. The atmosphere is shifting around you. The weight of lack is lifting. The sound of overflow is rising. And as you declare with faith, heaven records your agreement. The vaults are opening. The rains are falling. The abundance is flowing. And nothing, no force of darkness, no scheme of man can stop what heaven has released. You have felt the resistance. You have seen how, every time breakthrough drew near, obstacles rose up, plans fell apart, friends turned cold, opportunities slipped away like water through your fingers. It may have seemed as though something or someone was working behind the scenes to block you. And you were right. There have been schemes designed against your blessing. But here is the truth. They cannot win. The enemy has always feared what you carry. He knows that the wealth assigned to you is not just for your comfort, but for the shaking of nations. That is why he tried to cut off your progress. That is why he stirred confusion in relationships, delays in opportunities, and fear in your heart. If he could not stop your faith, he tried to starve your hope. Yet every attempt has failed. We find in the prophet Nahum, chapter 1, verse 9, "Whatever they plot against the Lord, he will bring to an end. Trouble will not come a second time." These words are a sword in your hand. Plots against your finances, your assignment, your family. God says they will not succeed. Trouble may have visited once, but it does not have the right to return. The cycle of sabotage is over. Imagine a storm that tries to uproot a great tree. The wind howls, the rain beats down, but the roots are deep. The branches may sway, but the trunk does not break. And when the storm passes, the tree stands taller than before. That tree is you. The storms against your prosperity may have raged, but you remain, and your roots are only deeper now. I remember the testimony of a businesswoman who faced sabotage again and again. Contracts were stolen. Deals collapsed at the last moment. People she trusted betrayed her. For years, she thought she was cursed. But in time, God lifted her into a space no enemy could touch. The very people who plotted against her watched as she rose higher, her company prospering beyond expectation. She often says now, "The storm was real, but it could not stop the seed God planted." Now, that is your story too. The sabotage was real, but so is the covenant. The attempts to steal your blessing were real, but so is God's promise, and His promise outlasts every plot. Think of a river blocked by stones. At first, the water seems trapped, diverted, forced into dryness. But the river does not stop. It builds pressure, gathering strength, until one day it breaks through with unstoppable force, sweeping away every stone in its path. That is what is happening in your finances and in your destiny. The resistance was only temporary. The breakthrough will be permanent. Chosen one, do not live in fear of repeated defeat. What once hindered you will not return. What once drained you will not have access again. The enemy may have stolen opportunities in the past, but the blessing ahead is secured by heaven's seal. Lift your head and see beyond the sabotage. What the enemy meant for harm has become the ground for your testimony. Every delay prepared you for greater acceleration. Every betrayal trained you to depend only on God. Every failed plan cleared the way for a strategy from heaven. The war over your finances is already won. The weapons formed against you have been shattered. The plots designed to drain your hope have collapsed. You stand now not as one barely surviving, but as one protected by covenant, unstoppable by darkness. So, walk forward boldly. Your blessing is not fragile. It is shielded, secured, and assigned. No enemy can block what heaven has already released into your life. The storm is past. The roots are deep. The river is breaking through, and your season of unstoppable blessing has begun. And do not forget this: when God declares an end, it is final. No plot can be resurrected once heaven has ruled. What tried to entangle your steps will now serve as a testimony of his deliverance. The very pit dug for you will become a stage where his glory is revealed. Picture a warrior who carries scars from past battles. Those scars do not weaken him. They speak of survival, of strength, of victories already won. Your scars of financial struggle, betrayal, and disappointment are not marks of shame. They are proof that you cannot be defeated. So let courage fill you. Trouble has no second appointment with your destiny. The blessing you carry is guarded by the Almighty, and nothing, not fear, not sabotage, not delay, can touch what is sealed by his hand. Signs always come before the arrival of something great. Just as dawn hints at the rising sun, heaven often places markers along your path to prepare you for breakthrough. These signs are not coincidences. They are confirmations that the blessing you have been promised is near. One sign is unusual alignment. People you never expected begin to cross your path. Conversations take place that feel divinely orchestrated. Opportunities come together with a precision you could not arrange yourself. It feels as if unseen hands are setting the table before you. Do not dismiss these alignments as chance. They are the fingerprints of heaven on your journey. Another sign is the stirring of your spirit. A holy restlessness awakens within you. You no longer feel comfortable with just enough. Something in you refuses to settle for survival. That stirring is heaven's whisper, reminding you that more is written over your life. The book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 11, speaks with clarity. Your gates will always stand open. They will never be shut, day or night, so that people may bring you the wealth of the nations, their kings led in triumphal procession. Oh, do you hear it? Gates opening, not closing. The world may be shutting down, but heaven is opening doors in your direction. This is why strange favor begins to follow you. What once required endless effort suddenly becomes simple. Where doors were locked, they now swing wide. There was a woman who carried a dream for decades, but saw no progress. Then suddenly, small signs began to appear, people speaking encouragement without knowing her situation. Unexpected invitations, even repeated confirmations in scripture. Within months, the dream came alive. She later said, "The signs came first, like gentle knocks before the door swung open." Oh, look for another sign, resistance increasing right before breakthrough. This may sound strange, but often the fiercest battles happen on the edge of victory. The enemy senses the nearness of your blessing and tries one last time to sow doubt, fear, or distraction. Do not misinterpret resistance as rejection. It is often proof that you are close. Imagine a woman in labor. The pain intensifies right before new life is birthed. That is your current season. The pressure you feel is not the end. It is the sign of beginning. Another sign is the sudden remembrance of old promises. Words spoken over your life years ago may resurface. Scriptures you once underlined leap off the page again. These reminders are not nostalgia, they are prophetic alerts. Heaven is saying, now is the time. Sometimes the signs are subtle, like a whisper. Other times they are loud, like a trumpet blast. But all carry the same message: your blessing is near. Think of clouds before rain. At first, they gather slowly. Then they darken, thicken, and cover the sky. To the untrained eye, it looks gloomy, but to the farmer, it means harvest is about to be watered. Your clouds are not signs of gloom, they are signs of rain. Chosen one, you are not lost. You are not waiting in vain. The signs are all around you, and they are multiplying. Heaven is shouting in symbols, whispers, and alignments. The blessing is near, so stay awake. Keep your spirit sensitive. Pay attention to the divine nudges, the repeating patterns, the moments that make you pause. They are not random. They are your Father reminding you that His word is about to take form in your life. The dawn has broken. The clouds are heavy. The gates are opening, and your blessing is already walking toward you. And here is the final sign: peace that makes no sense. In the middle of chaos, your heart rests. While others panic, you feel a strange calm, as if heaven itself is holding you steady. That peace is not denial, it is confirmation. It is the voice of the Spirit whispering, "I've gone ahead of you." And think of a traveler hearing distant music before reaching the city gates. The sound assures them they are close. Even if the road still wins, that is what peace does. It tells you the destination is nearer than you think. So, do not despise the signs, no matter how small. Together, they weave a clear message. The blessing you have been carrying in faith is about to manifest in sight. Hold your head high. Your gates are open. Your clouds are heavy. Your peace is secure. And your season of abundance is no longer a prophecy, it is reality unfolding. The waiting has ended. The signs are undeniable. What once felt far away is now within reach. Like a long-anticipated guest, finally stepping through your door. Prepare your heart. Your blessing is not approaching. It has already arrived. The blessing you are carrying is not a private matter. It was never designed to stay hidden within the walls of your own life. The Billionaire's blessing on you is a global mantle, a ripple effect that will touch nations, communities, and generations to come. Think of a torch passed through a dark valley. One hand may hold it, but its light covers everyone nearby. Your wealth, your influence, your abundance, these are torches entrusted to you, not only for yourself, but for all who walk within your reach. The Apostle Paul writes in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 11, "You will be enriched in every way, so that you can be generous on every occasion. And through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God." This is the essence of global impact. Prosperity that flows through you becomes worship to God in the mouths of others. When you give, when you build, when you sow into lives, they rise up in gratitude, not to you, but to the God who chose you as the vessel. Let me share a story. A man once prayed only for enough to feed his family. For years, that was his measure of success, survival. But as God lifted him higher, his prayer changed. He began asking, "Lord, how can I impact nations?" Today, he funds schools in villages where children once walked miles barefoot for education. His story proves this: when blessing grows, vision must grow with it. Chosen one. Your vision is expanding. This wealth transfer is not just about your table being full. It is about preparing banquets in lands where hunger has been normal It is about building hospitals where healing was once a dream. It is about equipping ministries that will speak hope into corners of the world you may never step into physically. Now, pause with me for a moment. If this word resonates in you, if you can feel that your blessing is designed not only to lift you but to touch nations, I invite you to act prophetically. Leave a comment below with the words, global impact. These two words are not just interaction, they are your declaration that your blessing will ripple across borders. And if your heart is stirred, there are other simple ways you can help spread this light. Like this message, as though you are striking a match that makes the flame shine further. Share it like handing someone else a torch in their darkest valley. A single act of sharing can open a door of hope for someone you will never meet. Subscribe not because you need another channel, but because you want to stay connected to a stream that will keep your spirit awake and aligned with heaven's timing. And yes, if your spirit feels led deeper, consider this. Donating is like pouring oil into a lamp so that the flame never dies out. Every drop of oil ensures the light continues for those still wandering in the dark. It is never about pressure, it is always about participation. Each of these acts, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, donating, is like dropping a stone into the water. The ripples stretch farther than you can see, reaching people you may never know until eternity. The time has come for you to rise as one who carries global influence. The crown on your head is not ornamental, it is functional. It signals to the world that God has chosen you to administer wealth with wisdom, with generosity, and with vision beyond yourself. This is not a dream for later. It is a calling for now. And as you step forward, your obedience will ignite change across nations, proving once again that the blessing of the Lord is never small, never selfish, never silent. You are the ripple. You are the torchbearer. You are the vessel of global impact. And do not underestimate how powerful your yes truly is. Nations have been shifted by the obedience of one person. Families have been transformed by the faith of one voice. The same mantle rests on you now. Picture a single candle lit in a vast cathedral. At first, it seems small, almost insignificant. Yet as its light touches wick after wick, soon the whole hall is ablaze. That is what your obedience will do. It will multiply. Your crown is not just for display. Your blessing is not just for survival. They are both tools entrusted to you, so that countless others will experience the overflow of God's goodness through your life. Step boldly. The time of silence is over. The ripple has begun, and the world is about to see the fire you carry. Every blessing carries both glory and responsibility. To be entrusted with wealth from heaven is not simply to enjoy it, but to protect it. What God places in your hands must be guarded, not with fear, but with vigilance. Just as a soldier stands watch over a fortress, so must you stand guard over the blessing being released into your life. The enemy does not rest. He knows he cannot stop what heaven has already decreed, but he will attempt to corrupt it, distract you from it, or cause you to misuse it. That is why discernment is essential. Wealth without wisdom is fragile, but wealth guarded by obedience becomes unshakable. The Word of God speaks in Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Prosperity is not just about receiving it, it is about maintaining. It is about anchoring your abundance in God's word so that no storm can uproot it. Imagine a vineyard. The vines are heavy with grapes, but without walls to protect them. Thieves could enter and steal. The blessing is real, but it must be guarded. The walls in your life are prayer, obedience, integrity, and discernment. With these, the vineyard not only survives, but thrives. I once heard of a man who suddenly came into great wealth. At first, he celebrated, but without wisdom, he allowed voices of greed and manipulation to surround him. In a few short years, everything was gone. Contrast that with another man who received less at first, but guarded it carefully, aligning every decision with God's counsel. Over time, his resources multiplied beyond imagination. The difference was not the size of the blessing, it was the stewardship. Chosen one, this is your call. To guard what is coming. You are not to fear losing it, but to remain watchful, making choices that align with the covenant. Wealth can build altars or idols. The difference depends on the heart of the one holding it. Think of a flame in the wind. If left unprotected, the gusts could extinguish it. But if cupped carefully by steady hands, the flame not only survives but spreads. Your blessing is that flame. Guard it, and it will ignite fires of hope in places still bound by darkness. Guarding also means resisting the subtle lies of scarcity that try to creep back. Even after abundance comes, whispers may tell you to hoard, to fear the future, to doubt the flow. Do not yield to them. Scarcity is no longer your identity. Your wealth is not fragile, it is backed by the covenant of heaven. Guarding means knowing when to say no. Not every opportunity is from God. Not every open door leads to purpose. Discernment will show you which partnerships align with your assignment and which are distractions disguised as blessings. Picture a shepherd watching over his flock. Wolves may circle, but the shepherd does not sleep. His vigilance protects the sheep, ensuring that they reach the pasture safely. In the same way, your vigilance will ensure that your wealth fulfills its true purpose. You are not called to paranoia, but to wisdom, to hold your blessing with open hands, yet guarded heart, to be generous without being careless, to be bold without being reckless. This is the balance of true prosperity. And remember this, you do not guard the blessing alone. Heaven stands with you. Angels surround the inheritance you carry. The Spirit whispers warnings when danger approaches. God Himself promises to be your shield. Your role is simply to listen, to obey, and to keep your eyes fixed on Him. So take courage. The blessing is secure, but your vigilance ensures it will endure. Stand guard with prayer. Stand guard with wisdom. Stand guard with a heart that remains soft toward God. The vineyard will not be stolen. The flame will not be extinguished. The treasure will not be corrupted. Because you, chosen one, were entrusted not only to receive, but to protect. And when you guard what God gives, you are not just preserving wealth, you are preserving legacy. Every wise decision today becomes a seed planted for tomorrow. Your children, and their children after them, will eat from the harvest of your vigilance. Think of a fortress built on solid rock. Generations may come and go, but the walls remain. That is the kind of security your obedience builds. This is how the blessing outlives you, echoing far beyond your lifetime into eternity. The journey has been long, You have walked through deserts, endured storms, and pressed forward when everything in you wanted to give up. Yet here you stand, still breathing, still believing, still chosen. Every tear shed, every night of uncertainty, every battle faced has brought you to this moment. And now, the final seal is being placed upon your destiny. The blessing you have awaited is not a faint hope, it is a reality unfolding. Wealth, influence, and abundance are no longer distant promises, they are assignments landing in your hands. This is not the work of men. This is the orchestration of heaven. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36 declares, "You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised." You have persevered. You have obeyed. And now you are ready to receive. Imagine a royal decree being read aloud in a crowded hall. The seal is broken, the parchment unrolled, and the king's words echo, "This inheritance belongs to you. No one can contest it. No rival can erase it." That is what heaven is declaring over you now. The inheritance is sealed, and your name is written upon it. Think of all the times you nearly surrendered. Those moments when weariness convinced you it was not worth the fight. Yet something deep within refused to let go. That was not stubbornness, it was the Spirit of God holding you steady, anchoring you to the promise. And now, that anchor lifts you into a new season. The wealth transfer you have heard about is not abstract. It is not a distant rumor. It is a mantle resting on your shoulders, even as you read these words. The weight you feel is not burden, it is glory. It is heaven's recognition that you have been entrusted with resources too vast for ordinary minds to carry. There was once a man who lived as if forgotten, elabored quietly, day after day, his efforts unnoticed by those around him. But when the appointed time came, everything shifted in a single moment. The promotion arrived, the resources unlocked. The hidden years of faithfulness erupted into visible blessing. His story was not unique, it was simply the fulfillment of a promise. And yours will be the same. Chosen one, you are unstoppable, not because of your own strength, but because heaven has decreed it. You are unshakable, not because storms will cease, but because your roots are anchored in eternal soil. You are sealed for billionaire destiny. The mantle cannot be removed. The inheritance cannot be revoked. Picture a crown being fastened firmly on a head. The clasp locks. The jewels gleam, and the crown no longer wavers. That is your destiny now, secure, undeniable, radiant. This wealth will not only bless you, it will flow like rivers into dry lands. Families will rise because of it. Communities will flourish. Nations will shift, and every ripple will trace back to the moment when heaven said, "It is time." And lift your eyes. The horizon is bright. What once was a valley of shadows is now a field of harvest. What once was silence is now a song of triumph. You are walking into the fullness of everything promised. No more waiting. No more wondering. The seal is set. The blessing released. The mantle placed. Walk forward in the authority of one chosen, crowned, and sent. This is your inheritance. This is your legacy. This is your billionaire destiny. And as you step into it, remember this truth. Your story is no longer about survival. It is about significance. The blessing you now carry is not measured in the zeros of an account, but in the lives touched, the chains broken, the hope restored. Think of a lighthouse standing at the edge of the sea. Its beam does not exist for itself. It exists for every ship tossed on the waves. That is what your abundance will be, a guiding light for those who feel lost, a signal that safety and promise are near. Do not be surprised when people begin to look to you for answers. Do not shrink back when opportunities arrive that seem too great. The mantle given to you was made for such weight. What feels overwhelming at first will soon feel natural, because grace will meet you at every step. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a legacy. Walk forward boldly. Heaven has sealed your destiny, and no hand on earth can undo it. The blessing is yours. The wealth is secure, and the world will never be the same because you chose to believe. You have reached the end of this journey, but in truth, it is the beginning of a new chapter for your life. The words you have heard are not only to inspire you, they are confirmations of what heaven has already decreed. You are chosen, you are sealed, and you are stepping into wealth and destiny that will shape generations. If this word has spoken to you, let your agreement be known. Leave a comment below. Write what stirs in your heart. Your words are not just text. They are a prophetic marker saying, I am aligned with heaven's plan for me. All too, if you feel the fire of this message, like it. Each like is like striking a spark, ensuring that this light does not stay hidden but shines further into the world. Take another step. Share it with someone you know. A single share can place hope into the hands of someone standing on the edge of giving up. Your action might be the reason another life finds strength tonight. Subscribe, not for numbers, but so your spirit stays anchored in a stream of encouragement and prophecy. Connection keeps you sharp and awake when distractions try to dull your faith. And if your heart is stirred to go deeper, consider this. Donating is like pouring oil into a lamp. Every drop ensures the flame burns brighter, guiding not only you, but countless others still searching in the dark. It is never pressure, it is partnership. Every action, your comment, your like, your share, your subscription, your gift becomes part of a ripple that stretches farther than your eyes can see. Chosen one. You are more than a listener. You are a torchbearer. Step boldly. Let your actions today become the testimony tomorrow.